Aaron Tuttle here. It's storm season in Oklahoma, and with that comes torrential rain, high winds, and hail. To protect your home and your family from these threats, the one roofing company you should trust is Ferguson Roof Systems. They've been providing the best in roofing services for nearly half a century. Ferguson is Oklahoma's full-service roofing company, certified with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and a 5-star rating on Google. And with Ferguson now offering Class 4 impact-resistant shingles, now is the time to trust them with your home's roof. Get started today at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey there, Meteorologist Aaron Tuttle back with you again. It is a little after 9:30. We're going to talk about the severe weather threat for your Friday. Believe it or not, it's one snuck in there, but I think we had talked about this in my blog on Sunday, that the models still weren't exactly sure what was going to happen Friday, Saturday. They were still a little all over the place, so I deferred to kick the can down the road until we got through our Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I did that. And then tonight we had our severe weather classroom session, so hopefully some of you got to attend that. If you missed it, you missed out. So it was a good event. A lot of people liked it, kids liked it, so maybe we can do this again here soon. So if I do, don't miss the next time around, and get educated a little bit. All right, well, let's talk about the weather for tomorrow. Let's talk about that level of education, a little bit different. We do have the threat for severe weather, so thanks for joining me. Make sure you like and share this video. Tell your friends and play about AT's weather. All this stuff is organic. Without your help, it goes nowhere. It falls flat. It gets lost in the algorithms. So do your fair share of clicking the button. It'll get going again. All right, let's take a look at the big picture here. So we do have, believe it or not, a risk of severe weather back in Oklahoma. Now, right now, the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted most of it here in northeastern section of the state and in northwest Arkansas. It does have a marginal risk, though, here covering Oklahoma City and up the I-35 corridor. We'll talk about that here in a second as to why that is. And there's a close-up view of that here, which kind of anchors across the eastern half of the state for late Friday. By the way, if I go back to this map and show you, there's your risk of a tornado in green, which almost comes to Oklahoma City metro area, and then just points to the east, and there's the wind, there's the hail. So it's kind of a low-end probability compared to, of course, what you've been hearing over the last earlier, good grief, however many days for what happened earlier this week. Large hail is a threat for early Saturday with some of these storms that may move into southeastern Oklahoma from the stuff overnight. On into eastern Oklahoma we go. Here's a close-up view of that. Some hail up to around golf ball size, wind gusts around 60 miles per hour or so. A low threat of tornadoes for your Friday with this event. And then on to Saturday morning. All right, so that kind of kickstart our Easter weekend. On the jet stream pattern, you can pick it up in the water vapor channel. This is our disturbance out here across the west streaming on in. And so we have a flow that kind of comes in from a west, kind of a northwest flow. So in a northwest flow, the storms, and we even talked about this tonight in my weather classroom, storms a lot of times, here's our storm, will kind of move in a northeastern fashion most of the time, especially when it comes to severe weather. This time around, they're going to kind of move in a southeastward fashion because of this flow right here. So that's kind of, and that's usually doesn't happen until the latter part of spring and early summer. This is a little sneak preview of what that looks like. If you take a look at the energy in the atmosphere, it shows you where the lift is, and it's a very subtle situation. So here's tomorrow afternoon and evening, and you see some little bit of energy rippling through, but no huge, bullseyes of color like we saw before. So that means there's not a whole lot of lift with this system. That one moves on out. Let's see if anything comes in. Another little batch of energy comes in. Let's see, for Sunday morning. Look at that. We're in the early Sunday morning time frame. Are we going to get some rain with that? Is that going to mess up your Easter? Oh, I hope not. Let's take a quick look at what the atmosphere looks like and a forecast sounding at that point. Ooh, very dry right here in the middle levels and dry here in the upper levels. So that little upper system doesn't have much moisture to work with. I like them apples, although it's quite cloudy. And I hope that's not going to be any drizzle, but needless to say, we'll take a look at the details on that here in a minute. That was just kind of a quick early preview. So tomorrow afternoon, we do have a dry line setting up here at a triple point back across and near the Oklahoma City metro area, so there'll be a lot of lift within that to see if we can't get some showers and thunderstorms. Now, there's going to be a lot of dry air in place across this region. The models right now aren't really saturating things up too much. If I was to pick a point here where this max lift is in the atmosphere, Look at how dry this bad boy is. That means any cloud bases would be way up here. They'd mix out and you wouldn't get any storms. So if this model were to be taken exactly for what it says, we wouldn't get anything out of that. But other models aren't exactly as dry as that one. So let's take a look at this one. Look at the dew point values return from the 40s to the 50s. Look how fast this moisture comes in here. To the 60s. Look how quickly that happened. All in just 24 hours. Big juicy stuff of 70s down here in Texas. But it comes right along the I-35 corridor. It points to the east, loading up the eastern half of Oklahoma. Some more instability. And then as we head into the evening hours, a cold front, you can tell, is coming in because these dew point values drop in the 20s behind it. And it starts to press down into central Oklahoma and the Tulsa area here. Oh, let's see, what was that? 6, 7, 8, so about 3 o'clock in the morning. This front comes on through and carries any storms along with it and out of the region as more dry air filters in. Look at all that dry air. That's nice. Let's see this rest of Saturday. Okay, looking good. And then there's still some residual light moisture around, but pretty paltry for Sunday. So that's good too. All right, I like that. Okay, so let's take a look now at the close-up view of this. And we're going to go with the HER model for right now, just to show you what's going to happen. Now here's 7 o'clock. So what happens is, in this particular model anyway, we have our triple point forming right here across Canadian County. And we do have moisture coming in to this region, but it's not very deep. It's pretty shallow, getting mixed out, which is why I was having a tough time building storms. Deeper stuff is out here. And then, of course, we have our front that's lining up that will form within this low. And right now it's kind of in this region here. And then we have our dry line action, something like this. And then our little pseudo warm front thingamabobbers up about like this. So this is where your focus for severe weather would be. Once again, kind of in this quadrant for the kickstart of the event. So now let's just find out if we're going to see any of that. Now you know where it's going to be. If we do look at that HER for the instability and the Cape values, it gets a little bit better as we head into the evening versus the morning or versus the middle afternoon. So there's 4 or 5 o'clock. There's still not a whole lot here in Oklahoma City. It does kind of come in at the last minute though. But just to give you an example, what happens, the cap usually builds in the evening. So the cap is built here, but the rest of the sounding is pretty conducive for some big hail, marginal tornado risk, on a almost a significant type category, a lot of shear. So any storm basically that was able to develop before this time frame in the evening, in theory, could still produce a tornado. So it'd be like a mid to late evening type deal if there's any storms out there. And of course, that's a big if. We got to get them to form first. So this is one of those conditional days again. If we do look at the significant tornado parameter, though, you can see how it highlights right here in south central and east central Oklahoma off the charts a little bit. So once again, here in the early part of the evening to the late part of the evening, there's a little bit of that around. And then overnight, everything kind of gets pushed down to south and eastern Oklahoma toward the daybreak hours. Okay, so now let's take a look at the model data. So this model is always one that just loves to produce storms. There's a chance in the world it'll produce. So let me back up in the morning because I believe it did have some morning stuff. So yeah, in the morning it does have like 7, 8 o'clock, little elevated thunderstorms out here in northeast Oklahoma, maybe as far west as like Stillwater. And that kind of bubbles up for the early morning hours, then it kind of moves on off by lunchtime. And then in the afternoon, look what happens. It generates more storms across north central Oklahoma. And those move into northeast Oklahoma. This one has a little Helicity track with it. Now that could be large hail, potential tornado, moving into close to the metro area of Tulsa. And that's in the evening hours, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock moving through. So let's hope that doesn't pan out. Anyways, that's going to move on into western Arkansas during the evening hours. Doesn't produce anything over central Oklahoma, but just more scattered showers of storms all night and in the morning hours over that same area from northeast Oklahoma into western Arkansas. And then, of course, that all moves south and east. And then after that, doesn't really have much. Got some little cloudiness moving through for Saturday morning, but we looked at the data, looked pretty dry there. All right, here's a close-up view of the HER, and we'll see what it does. Again, there's that little morning convection. You can see each model is going to place at different areas. Just know this is pretty much the main path for that morning stuff that rotates and moves off to the east, scattered in nature. A quick moving little deal. All right, then let's go in the afternoon. This particular model, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock magic, just all of a sudden busts stuff up here in Tulsa, and has a Helicity track as well as it goes to Muskogee region. So again, some of these models are liking the idea that these could produce tornadoes and they could produce some pretty decent hail, like golf balls or larger, across the late evening hours in northeast and eastern Oklahoma and into western Arkansas. So another late night event type deal. Ugh, nobody likes those things, right? I know I don't. And then more scattered stuff after that. It redevelops across northeast Oklahoma. And you notice central Oklahoma in this aspect was all dry. It didn't produce that storm. All right, so let's take a look at the Helicity track within this, and you can see how it's pretty substantial. So it's indicating it's going to be a long-lived supercell storm. So hopefully it's not going to be a tornado producer, because that would be potentially for a much longer life cycle of one. If we go to the Texas Tech model, which I like to use during severe weather season, it's kind of not as really as bullish. You do see those little trails though, so it does have that slight indication late evening, but it has it way north and east. That's the farthest north and east model I've seen. Most of them are not that far away. They're closer in. So let's go to this research model, which only they run once a day, which they run it twice. But it's going to be kind of similar to the cousin that just, if there's a chance, it's going to bust one up, right? Well, this one likes that idea of 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock, but 10 o'clock instead of Tulsa, but Oklahoma City. So that's what I'm saying. We're kind of on the edge of that instability. Right now, if you were to average everything out, it favors more just east of us, and maybe as far west as Stillwater. But this model is actually fairly decent, and it produces that potential here in the metro, Oklahoma County and points east. So we're technically on the far western fringe of this activity of potential. So it's on the table. May not be a high potential, but it's on the table, and we got to watch it. All right, let's take a look at the rainfall amounts wherever the rainfall happens to be. The models are anywhere from 1 to 2 inches probably. Yeah, there you go. There's 2 1/4. So some very heavy downpours scattered here across eastern Oklahoma. And we'll see where it starts. You know, is the cutoff kind of where this thing shows in this region, or is it more like this region, you know, this region? So tomorrow morning I'll look at the new data, and we'll do a live at lunch to see. And of course, I'm sure you wanted to know this, but the wind doesn't stop sweeping down the plains. We've got wind gusts tomorrow anywhere from 40 to maybe as high as 50 miles per hour here in central Oklahoma. So it'll be a windy day once again. All right. I know we're all tired of hearing that. So what else we have? Let's see. Let me see if there's anything substantial in the rainfall buckets for Easter Sunday. And let's see here. 4 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock. There's those little sprinkles and some clouds I think the models are indicating. Yeah, right here. So everything else above it is dry, so that's good. But it is a little moist down at the lowest levels. So Sunday morning could be just kind of a cloudy, sprinkly type event for a few hours, and then it does clear up. Let me go to the 4 o'clock in the afternoon just to see how the atmosphere looks. We still kind of have clouds around. Ugh, and it's going to be chilly. Oh, that's terrible. Let's take a look at how much clouds and what the temperatures are going to be, because I'm kind of getting depressed here. Come on, Easter. All right, so let's see. There's the cloud cover Saturday morning. All right, there's all day Saturday. Oh, come on now. Here's Sunday. Come on, baby. Bring me some sun. Look at that sun line coming in. There's 1 o'clock. There's 4 o'clock. Oh, eastern Oklahoma. The most you can hope for is some peaks of sun. That's terrible. Sorry about that. All right, well, let's take a look at temperatures. Let's see if those get any better. With the clouds, it should be pretty chilly since that front came through. But, man, by the way, tomorrow, toasty again. 80s and 90s out here in western Oklahoma. Oof. All right, so on Saturday, that front comes through in the morning, so it cools us down. Saturday itself, man, pretty chilly. Lots of 50s out there, maybe even some 40s. Ugh, gross. All right, let's go to Sunday morning. 50s, 40s, okay. And then Sunday afternoon, here we go. Rebounding nicely out in western Oklahoma in the 70s. 60s here for central, and I'm afraid stuck in the low 50s out east. So, I wish I had better news for you for your Easter, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. That is no good. All right, temperatures over the next few days. We do see lots after the 80s. Tomorrow we do see lots of 60s in our future, then back into the 70s to near 80. All right, lows, well, not as cold as this morning. Woo, that's for sure. We had a freeze for a lot of you guys. You planned it before Easter. You shouldn't have done it. So the 19th was our next day to watch for temperatures, and the models keep warming it up degree by degree every time I show you this. Then it's back into the 50s. So let me see. That's on Tuesday the 19th. Let's see if there's any chance of a freeze or frost here in this time period. We'll go take a look at the European data to get an idea on that. So let's see. Where was my temperatures? Oh, was it over here? No. Where was it? Was it here? There it was. Okay, so let's go to the temperature deal. And let's see if we've got anything that looks pretty chilly for that time period that may harm your sensitive, tender vegetation. All right, let's see. Monday, we're in the 40s. Okay, that should be okay. It'll be cool for them, but they'll be all right. Just make sure don't get any 30s. All right, the next morning, northeast Oklahoma, Tulsa, Bartlesville, got some 30s up here, mid 30s. So low-lying areas, I'll probably see a frost or a freeze. Otherwise, the cities and high point areas will be into the 30s. So if you live in the northeastern quadrant of Oklahoma on Tuesday, April 19th, make sure you protect your plants. And I think that's it. After that, we should be good. It's too late in the year to get a freeze at that point. So, woohoo! All right, so there you go. Now you know it all. So what I'm going to do is, I know, Pam, we definitely need some rain out west. We need rain everywhere. So what we're going to do is I watch this new data come in the morning. We'll see where exactly the triple point of form, dry line, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see if the moisture can get into this position in time. Right now the models have it coming in, but about 4 hours too late after the sun's gone down. By then the cap builds, and even though the parameters are there, it's too late to kick stuff off. So we'll see. 4 hours is a lot to make up. Will it do it? Is the trajectories wrong? I don't know. Right now, like I said, it's very iffy. It's a conditional deal. But if a storm were to develop, it'd probably be high base initially with some hail. And then as it worked its way in the eastern, better moisture source, then the cloud bases would lower and the potential for a tornado would be there. So I have to watch that. And that extends, again, from just barely here in central Oklahoma to the Tulsa area. So really, Tulsa, you guys should watch out pretty closely for that type of a scenario. That probably is much higher there than it is here in Oklahoma City. But regardless, I'll watch them both, and I'll give you an update at noon, or right before noon tomorrow for your Friday, and then we'll call it. All right, you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for checking in with me, and we'll do this again later. All right, sleep well.